Time for us to go across to Maxwell, who has an update for us
on Professor Atukwei, Okai, the renowned poet who passed on before the close of the week, last week. And we say may so rest in peace, but we want to speak to some young poet and get to have some insight into what his works were, what impact he also had in your lives.
Yeah, and a lot of times we have our young poets and even the older ones, hanging out here at the Jamestown Cafe. But here I've met Oswald Okai. Oswald is actually a poet. I also have with me Michael Somoa. Michael Somoa is also a poet. We are talking about the demise of renowned poet Professor Atukwei Okai. He died at the age of 27 on Friday at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. A lot of people have been paying tribute. President Mahama paid a glowing, tribute to him when he said that Prof, just like the eponymous Rosimaya, he has finished Friday and then he has wrecked the rest of our week. Let me find out from Oswald. Oswald, how did you receive the news?
Well, I had to call quite a number of people to confirm. I was not so well, and it just flashed on the screen, and I saw Atukwei Okai. It just wondering. I was like, "What is this?" So I had to go and pay attention, and had to then start calling Professor Kila Pasoya. Like, is it true? No, he's old, but he's not that person you would think would lead quite soon. So it came as a shock. It really came as a shock, and I can't find words to define that moment, and I could not sleep through the dawn.
Of course, just like you said, he was old, but you didn't expect him to, leave at this point. That's why in my introduction I actually said demise. I actually said sudden before I had to change, to only talk about the demise. But let's talk to Michael Somoa. You are very close to, you're also very close to Professor Atukwei Okai.
Yeah.
And you told me earlier that he inspired one of your works.
Yes.
Wow.
I happen to have worked with him at Pan African Writers Association for a while. And he was very instrumental in my artistry, in my works. And I always had to go back to him whenever I was actually traveling out or needed inspiration. And it was so sudden that he passed on just this Friday. I wasn't aware, though. I was there when Oswald called to inform me that your father has passed on. I was like, I was so surprised, I was shocked, I was amazed. Because it had been a while I actually kept in touch with her. He usually sent me messages on WhatsApp, yeah. But I didn't know he had fallen sick, so it came as a shock. But then, in a way, he has contributed so much in my world of poetry, and I think...
We would want you to, in fact, say your latest work, he actually contributed?
Yeah, he inspired that work.
Okay.
He actually inspired that work.
You want to tell us a little about that?
Yes. That poem has always been my flagship song. Whenever I'm about to do any poem, I need to do that. And it's entitled Africa and Poetry, the Unfinished Song. Yeah, his poem, The African, actually inspired that one. And it's totally in line with that.
Oswald, you are also very close to Professor, Atukwei Okai. We know, in his poetry, he was politically radical, and then socially also very conscious. Tell us, how did he inspire you? In which way did he inspire your work? You are a Ghana.
Yeah, I'm a Ghana.
Prof was also a Ghana, but incorporated a lot of he still remains a Ghana, but there are a lot of times that you'd find some aspect of northern Ghana in his poetry, because his formative years was actually in Gambaga. You are also a Ghana. Tell us how he has inspired you as a poet.
When I started, well, I was not so conscious about him, but almost everyone I met mentioned him. You have to meet Professor Atukwei Okai. So when the time came, I had a performance at Nkrumah might be right at the Art Center, and I invited him, and he came. That became the link, and it was based on that he nominated myself and I think Somoa for the Ghana Achievers Awards, and Somoa took it away from me. I came second to Somoa, and since then he quite invited me to his office. And I remember there was a time myself and Somoa were supposed to go to Canada to pick international awards, and Somoa could go and I couldn't go then, so I went to him. And he sat me down and gave me past an hour lecture about himself. And he gave me the reason to understand why I need to keep on writing and never be discouraged. And you mentioned, I think you should know him, politically active and socially radical. So anytime anyone at all comes to me on Facebook and says that Oswald, you have to check wherever you're going, I keep referring them to Prof. Atukwei. He tells me that the arts is not just for yourself. It is a tool to have impact in the society. And so that has always been with us. I just used to write poems for writing's sake, but then I realized that it is an asset which is meant for the society, and that was highly induced by Professor Atukwei.
Let me find out from Michael Somoa. Michael, maybe you want to give us the latest poem that you have. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Would you want to give us something?
Yes,
Have a feel of...
This poem was actually inspired by Professor Atukwei. I recall working with him, and one evening he called me to his office and he said, Michael, what have you done all through the day? And I said, oh, I'm working on a piece. And he asked me to read it to him. He actually taught me inculcating forms of allusions into poetry and trying to attach fierce music into poetry. So after the poem, I actually left his office around 1 a.m. to Tema. Yeah, after we did this poem. And it has always been in this. This was 2011, I think. Yes, 2011, I think, yeah. So it's entitled Africa and Poetry, The Unfinished Song. I am that I am. And just as I am in Nkrumah, Mandela, Lumumba, Cabral, Sumanguru, Sundiata, Kunta Kinte. I am the liberator and unifier of your sovereignty. I am the Apam, the Asafufro, and music to your dancing feet. I am that I am, and just as I am the soil to the harvest of yam that satisfies every hunger and the wealth to your barn. Hear the voice of the poet, the I am to your quarters, the Inubwa to your well-being and the broom to your feet. Just as I am and as young as I am the train from Manzini, Maputo, Lebombo, Chukwuchakayan and Horning across Soweto, Timbuktu, and lasing its metal along in Sawam, Donkukrum, and Jasikine. I am Africa, the I am that I am. I am the Dondo, and just as I am...